The shadows in the attic. I've always been fascinated by the unknown, by the things that go bump in the night. Perhaps that's why I found myself alone in my grandfather's attic, rummaging through his old belongings on a stormy night. The wind howled outside, shaking the very foundations of the house, but I was too engrossed in my search to notice. It all started when I found a strange-looking key hidden amongst a pile of dusty books. The key was unlike any I had seen before, made of a dark metal that seemed to absorb the light around it. Curious, I decided to investigate further. The attic was a maze of boxes, old furniture, and cobwebs. I made my way through the clutter, following a trail of clues that seemed to lead me deeper into the heart of the attic. As I moved further in, the air grew colder, and a sense of dread settled over me. I eventually found the lock the key fit into, an old wooden chest pushed against the far wall. The chest was covered in carvings of strange symbols that I didn't recognize. My heart was pounding as I inserted the key and turned it. The lock clicked open with a finality that sent a shiver down my spine. Inside the chest, I found a journal. It was old and weathered, the pages yellowed with age. The handwriting was spidery and difficult to read, but I could make out enough to piece together a chilling story. The journal belonged to my great-great-grandfather, a man who had been obsessed with the occult and the supernatural. He had spent his life searching for a way to contact the spirits of the dead, and he believed he had finally found a way, through a series of rituals and incantations passed down through generations. As I read further, I realized that the rituals had been performed in this attic, on this very spot where I now stood. The thought sent a chill through me, but I couldn't stop reading. The final entry in the journal was dated the day before my great-great-grandfather's death. He had written about a final ritual, one that would summon a spirit so powerful that it could grant him eternal life. But something had gone wrong. The ritual had backfired, and instead of eternal life, he had unleashed something dark and evil into our world. I felt a presence behind me, a cold breath on my neck. I spun around, but there was nothing there, just the shadows, dancing in the dim light of the attic. I tried to tell myself that it was just my imagination, that there was nothing to be afraid of, but the feeling of dread was still there, hanging over me like a dark cloud. I knew I had to get out of the attic, but I couldn't move. It was as if something was holding me there, keeping me prisoner in the shadows. I closed my eyes and forced myself to calm down. When I opened them again, I saw a figure standing in the corner of the attic. It was a woman, dressed in a long, flowing gown. Her hair was dark and wild, and her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice trembling. "I am the spirit that was summoned," she said, her voice cold and hollow. "I was trapped in the shadows for centuries, waiting for someone to release me, and now, you have." I felt a sense of horror wash over me. I had unleashed this evil spirit into our world, and there was no going back. "What do you want from me?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I want what was promised to me," she said, stepping closer. "Eternal life, and you will help me get it." I knew then that I was in danger. This spirit was not going to rest until she got what she wanted, and I was the only one who could stop her. I closed my eyes and began to recite the only prayer I knew. I don't know if it was the power of the prayer or my own determination, but I felt a surge of energy course through me. When I opened my eyes again, the spirit was gone. The shadows had retreated back into the corners of the attic, and I was alone once again. I grabbed the journal and the key, and I ran out of the attic as fast as I could. I locked the door behind me and threw the key as far away as I could. I never went back to the attic again. I burned the journal in a fire, hoping to destroy any trace of the evil spirit that had been trapped within its pages. But even though the physical evidence is gone, I can't shake the feeling that the spirit is still there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to be released into our world. I live my life with a constant sense of dread, knowing that at any moment, the shadows could come calling again. And when they do, I'll be ready, because I know now that the only thing more powerful than the darkness is the light within us all. As for the key, I don't know where it ended up. Perhaps it's still lying somewhere in the house, waiting to be found by another curious soul.